We need a bigger table.
Hi, I'm Rowan.
I'm Calvin.
And I'm Zach.
And you're watching episode 2 of season 3 of In the Zone. Today we're going to be discussing the Twilight Zone episode, The Arrival. We'll spoil the entire thing, so check it out before you watch this if you don't want it spoiled for you. We start in a plane, hangar, and there are 3 guards. And so basically, nothing happens, and Rod Serling's intro starts right away. He says this is a freak aeroplane. I love what they call it an aeroplane.
Oh, and I enjoyed the Serling monologue for
it was
a lot
quite good.
of reasons.
Yeah, he says it's a 7-ton puzzle.
Yes.
And then
you'll have 90% of the pieces, and you have to figure it out, put them together, and find the missing ones. It's so good. So then we fade to black, come up, and so this plane lands.
Lands, and these people are looking at it.
But the pilot won't come out. They're like, got a hot poker game going on? You need a can opener?
Yeah.
And then he knocks on it.
And
they open the door, and the plane's completely empty. There's no luggage. No one is there. No passengers.
One of the things that this episode did a little bit wrong is I thought it was an interesting premise, but it was poorly executed in the sense that they, I feel like a lot of times they intended for you not to have figured it out when,
Well,
you
figured it out.
Wait, what did you have figured out?
No, it's just so here's an example. The guy is like, hey, door, why will you not open? And then the other guy's like, what? There's no luggage. There's not even any luggage. Hey, other person, I think we're going to have to tell the passengers that there's no luggage. Wow! But the thing about that is, before you have to tell the passengers that there is no luggage, there's no passengers. I saw that coming for about 2 minutes. And that happened a lot in this episode.
Well, because it's so unprecedented for them that they just wouldn't naturally assume, he's not answering the door, he must have disappeared. You have to put yourself in their shoes, okay?
I feel like that was the least, I feel like that was the least bad example of that, and
Zach's wrong. This is a very good mystery, because it's a good setup for the audience, because, where did they go?
I mean, I didn't know where they went.
I mean, it's interesting. When you have a simple, straightforward mystery like this, it's very engaging.
Yeah.
So this guy's like, I have to tell it to the chief. I hope he lets me finish my story before he gets me committed. That line was a little bit on the funny side, I have to say. Because it was delivered in such a dumb, dramatic way. He was not a great actor, this small part man, but I feel like a lot of the people were very good, actually. The acting overall, I think, was good in this episode. And really, if that main guy was weak, then none of it really would have been compelling, but the main actor is very good. So it really ties it all together.
I don't know. I thought I still think there was too much padding.
Zach,
too much
There was not padding.
Zach, stop being Simon.
Simon's the nice one now.
No, he still buzzes a lot.
I thought people restated things a lot in this episode.
I don't think they really did all that much. I don't know.
It's just I remember a couple of times in the notes, I was just writing down what people were saying, and then I realized generally they're all saying this is.
I don't think
strange.
so. I don't think there's a lot of padding. I think there's pretty much none.
Yeah, most of it's talking, but that's.
Well, I didn't like the episode pace.
We can have it always. They always
It's not for padding. It was.
Yeah. The talking always moves it forward.
It was rarely. To make you think.
I didn't think the talking moved it forward.
So this guy, Mr. Shackley, is the main character, and he's like a plane detective. He basically finds out stuff about planes that are missing, and he's very confident, and he's a very good actor.
Always
He's like, I'm good at this. Basically,
he's like, I'm gonna figure this out. I just gotta get all this information. So then he asks people a bunch of questions.
So he interviews people, and what they say isn't really that important. The only important thing from this scene is that the names of the pilots are familiar. I mean, it's a very obvious setup, but that's not really a problem.
I don't know. I thought they had a lot of obvious setup that they thought we didn't think was an obvious setup.
I don't know. Well, either way, I mean, you couldn't figure out why they were familiar. It's a good balance, because they give you enough info that you sort of know something's happening, but you can't quite grasp it. Okay. So then, a great line. An airliner can't land that perfectly without anyone controlling it. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's just so he's talking to this meeting, and I just feel like everybody's like, there is no explanation. There is nothing we can say to explain this. Can we explain this? I think not. I have no explanation.
Zach is wrong. This did not happen. So then he goes to investigate in the hangar. This one guy has a theory. It's like, maybe they got parachutes, and then they jumped out of the plane for a gag. Yep, I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
Thanks for solving it for me. So then nobody believes him. So then he's like, well, it's weird looking at all those empty blue seats. But then you can tell Sheckley is like, oh? The vice president of the airline, Bankston, has not had any sort of phone call from the relatives of the passengers.
No relatives have contacted them either.
What's great about that?
And then they received no contacts from the relatives.
No, Zach is seriously making stuff up. They made that point only once. You have some agenda against this episode, and you're making up fake reasons to not like it. It's weird.
I don't know. I thought
it's like Brain Games the game, our sponsor. What I love about that is that it could mean that there's something weird going on, or it could just mean that no one called, but even so, that's a little weird. Yeah. So that's what I love about that. There's that sort of doubt. Shackley looks at the list of passenger names. Once again, they're so familiar. So then he goes and looks at the seats, and then, what the heck, he talks about how they used to be brown, but now they're blue. And then another guy's like, wait, they're red. And then he looks at the side of the plane, and he sees a number.
The number.
Then he gets Bankston to read the number, and it's different.
Something else.
They do it very cleverly, where they shoot it, and then they go back, and then they shoot it, and the number's there in the same font. It's so smart.
That was good.
Whoa.
Then he explains the theory, which is mass suggestion. So he says, someone told us that there's a plane here, so we don't necessarily know if there's really a plane there. So we all have a bit of hypnosis, where we picture a plane and what our frame of reference for a plane is, and we're projecting that as a hallucination. And this guy's touching it, and he's like, well, this is clearly there, so that's a little weird.
This is clearly a plane. You're insane. And then he's like, if I'm right, I'll prove that I'm right, and if I'm wrong, I'll be dead. And he's like, Robbins, will you please start the engines? Why? What an excellent decision.
Fade to black. Then we fade up. So this guy, his idea to prove it, he's gonna stick his arm in the blades. So, is this dumb or not? I think
it's
really
dumb.
I don't think it's really... I think it's a little dumb.
I think it's just he's desperate to...
Because it's maybe theoretically...
anything else.
I guess it sort of makes sense, because if you touch it, then it could still be a hallucination. But if you stick your arm through it, then it's probably not a hallucination.
But, also, what if you stuck a rod through it or something?
I know. Any smart person would never do that. Obviously, it's just for dramatic tension.
No, it'd be funny. He's about to... He's put his hand in. Oh yeah, hey guys, did you hear it was a gag?
So then he's about to stick his arm through, and then the plane disappears. And he's like, well, I guess it was a hallucination, or mass suggestion, right?
And the guy with it disappears. He's like...
Yeah, the guy in the plane.
And then the other guys start disappearing.
Yeah.
After.
That's
just creepy.
Isn't that just... It's very
creepy.
It's
a nice effect.
And it's such an amazing moment for the audience, for everything to just be flipped on them.
Yeah.
So then he calls for them. Bankston, Malloy, Robbins. So then later he's at his office, still looking for them, and then Bankston is there, and he's like, hey, what happened? And Bankston, doesn't... He knows him, but he's not really familiar with him.
He's like...
He doesn't know what he's talking about. Malloy's there, and he sees the newspaper Malloy's reading, and he says, Penny Jackson, the Hollywood starlet, just arrived on a Trans-East Airlines Flight 107 from Buffalo.
I think that's pretty forced. Can't you do a better thing than having a newspaper article about a plane arriving?
Yeah, but it's better than them talking.
It's fine.
I don't care.
I don't know.
It's not
I think it's not bad.
It's not like
I think it's pretty.
Oh, there's a celebrity there.
I think it's pretty clearly for dramatic effect.
So he's like, but didn't that flight arrive without passengers? And the guy's like, no. It was totally fine. The only flight that ever happened like that was Flight 107, which was many years ago. You were working on it, and you never figured it out. And it was the one case he never solved. He gets sweaty, and then he's
trying to say that no,
I never been licked on a case. I cracked every case. No, I never been licked on a case. I cracked every case. I never did the licking thing that I had on a case. I've cracked every case. No.
Are you saying that they padded this scene?
I don't know. I don't think it's padded, but I think there's just a lot of restated things that make me
No,
feel
it's
insulted.
not.
I think
Zach is wrong. He walks down a street yelling, Flight 107, why didn't I solve you? And then he is crying. And then that's the end. It's sort of an unnecessary scene at the end.
Yeah.
So, basically the explanation is that he saw, earlier in the day, he saw Flight 107 from Buffalo, and that triggered this memory, which went into this hallucination. Because he was like it caused him so much stress to like remember. Because he was like, he pretends to be this tough guy, but he's like really insecure about. It's always possible for him to not solve a case, and that's something that means a lot to him. So when he didn't solve this case so long ago, and now it's coming back to him, it causes him a lot of stress. So he had a hallucination.
So and then he's like freaking out. He's like.
And now in the first 3 seasons, we've had a hallucination episode within the first 2 episodes.
Every time?
Yeah, where's
everybody?
King 9.
King 9.
And then the...
Oh, that's such a good statistic.
We're hallucinating.
Well, I guess I'll have to punch myself in the face. That's the only way to figure it out.
Can I just say what I think about this episode?
Yeah.
So I like the premise a lot, and I think the premise is interesting. And then at the end, it makes you think. And I like that.
Yeah.
So what don't you like about this episode?
It makes you
Because
wonder.
Calvin and I think
So
really like
I felt
Makes your brain
insulted by the number
Like
of
brain
times
games.
they restated things expecting you not to know them.
Yeah, I don't think that was really something that happened. I think you hallucinated it because in the past
I don't know.
you saw
Why
that
does
episode of the Twilight Zone and now it's all coming back to you.
I didn't like the execution of this episode, and I don't think Rowan will change his mind, but I don't think I'm going to change my mind either.
I think they executed it well.
So
That's
we might
all
just
I
have
to
a
say.
Yeah, I
rating
think it
split,
was pretty
rating
Rating
split,
Acting
rating
was
split,
good.
rating split.
Acting was good everywhere.
Besides, like, a few people, but acting was good enough.
I feel like it was too much talking, but it wasn't padded.
Yeah.
I feel like there was too much. I feel like it was too dialogue driven, and the dialogue did not like.
Yeah.
The dialogue was disinteresting.
I guess yeah, it was a little bit I don't know if boring is the right word, but it's a little monotonous when it only moves forward when it's just scenes of people talking and then they figure it out together rather than like doing something a little more visually interesting.
Yeah.
Of course, it's interesting when he's about to stick his
But
hand.
that's about it. It was.
My other problem is that the thing about sticking the hand in the blade is a little bit dumb.
That's when you know it's a hallucination, because they go with anything he says.
5.5.
Oh, you're so wrong.
No, I don't know.
Zach.
What's this though?
9.
9.
Out of 10.
9 is fine. I'm not gonna go that high, but
I'm gonna change mine to 8.5. Sorry.
oh,
I changed
okay.
my mind.
Boo.
I'm gonna give it an 8. An 8 for the arrival. Well,
Yeah.
next week maybe we'll have just as crazy disagreements. We're gonna be talking about the episode The Shelter. So I hope you come and see us then.
Shelter.
See ya.